Welcome to our 56th anniversary.
You want me to start the video?
Good morning, everyone. And welcome to our 56th anniversary tournament, annual tournament. We've been doing this since 1970. So, long time. But you know what? As my sensei always used to say, every year gets better. And that's what's great. But I have a question for your parents. Why are you here? Why are you here? You watch karate? I assume you're here to watch your children, right? Son, your daughter, do karate, right?
Yep.
So that's great. But let me ask you another question. Why did you put your kids in karate? I want to talk about what karate really is today. And I don't think it's ever been done before, quite frankly, by anyone. Karate, what is it, right? Why did I put my children in there? Now, for a lot of you, it's just convenience. It's close by here, right? Could have been Taekwondo, could have been Aikido, could have been Kung Fu, could have been many martial arts, but it's karate. So you're here. And you're probably always going to say, that you want them to have some physical exercise, right? And you want to build their confidence
Yeah.
by fighting. Is that right? You want your kids to fight?
Discipline fine.
We don't fight. We do self-defense. If you're fighting, you've already lost. But as a culture, and I want to talk about this now, even when I was a kid, we've always glorified fighting. Maybe it's because we can't do it. Maybe because it's scary. Maybe because we're becoming Americans and getting violent. Probably edit that out, but the point is, when I was a boy, my parents took me to wrestling matches, where a bunch of fat guys were grabbing each other and throwing each other around. Now, you have 8-foot he-men killing each other in the wrestling ring, right?
Yeah.
They're all on steroids, you know, they're big, they're strong, and they're there to hurt each other. That wasn't the way it was. People would just throw people around. The wrestlers like Yukon Eric, Whipper Billy Watson, I think there was one called The Claw, grabbed somebody in the stomach. But it was like harmless, like, you know, but, you know, there was the start for me of, oh, we should like be into fights. Okay, so let me go back a little bit into why we think this. And we all like watching boxing too, right? Or any kind of fights in sports. Hockey, we love people having fights, right? Why? Why do we need to fight? It goes back to when we started, actually, a little bit before. In the 1970s, a bunch of movies came out. One of the first movies was Bruce Lee, and I think it was Fist of Fury. Might have not been the first one, but he also did one called Enter the Dragon in 1973. He was the first martial artist that made us all aware of the martial arts. And what he did was he basically just kind of beat people up. Sometimes with weapons. And sometimes he killed people in the movies. That was what we knew, right? That's what you do, right? If you're a martial artist, you kill people, you hurt them as much as possible, and more blood the better. Well, not good. He never even had a black belt, that I know of. And I don't think he ever won a fight, that I know of. But in the 1973 movie, he asked a good friend of mine to come into the movie. A good friend who I met in 1989, Chuck Norris. This is a real karate path to follow. This man has ethics. This man won over 20 championships in the 60s, from 65 to 70. He won. Bruce Lee talked him into coming into his movie, and Chuck agreed to go. Bruce Lee said, but you have to lose. So he said, okay, and he agreed. I spoke to him later, he said, why'd you do that? He said, well, he wanted me to lose, so to get in the movie I had to lose. I said, well, I think that was a mistake. There's a history between Chinese and Japanese. The Chinese martial arts people have always hated the Japanese karate people. It's always been a conflict. And if you look at Bruce Lee's movies, he's always fighting guys in gis, karate guys. Okay, but anyway, that was one. Then Chuck Norris came along after that and did more movies because he was made popular by that one. He did a lot of really good movies in the 70s and 80s, and they're all based on defense. Not fighting, not killing, not hurting. Defense, self-defense. Every one of his movies, watch any of them you want to. So here we have a person who actually represents the true nature of what karate is. There's another guy called Steven Seagal who did Aikido. He was a black belt in Aikido. And he was popularized in the 70s, I think, or maybe the 80s actually. And all he did was go around and hit people as well. He knew Aikido, which is basically self-defense, but he went farther than that. He would do the self-defense and then break their wrists, break their arms, punch them, kick them, whatever. So he was like punishing people. And this is what we were supposed to, like those were popular movies because of the violence. Again, not good though, right? This is not what martial arts should be. Then there's another guy, Jean Van Damme, who we call the Muscles from Brussels. And all he did really was street fighting. He had a movie called Bloodsport, where he just fought. He was famous for doing the splits and could kick to your head. But I don't think I ever saw him defend an attack in his movies. Maybe he did. But he was kind of in the middle. He was actually in karate, like Chuck, but he really never went beyond just his kicking techniques. So we have that, and all that has given us our understanding. But there was another movie called The Karate Kid. It was the best movie, because now we have a movie that's true. In that movie, if you've seen it, there's a good dojo and a bad dojo. The good dojo teaches the philosophy that we all aspire to, of Zen philosophy and nonviolence. The line in that movie that Mr. Miyagi makes is, best defense, not be there. Perfect, right? A dodge. Somebody swings at your head,